Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Caps and Alexander Ovechkin win the Stanley Cup, a 44-year drought since they were expanded into the league, and they've won the Stanley Cup. They beat the Vegas Golden Knights 4-3 tonight, and I don't know about you, but I think that was just such an emotional Cup win, such an emotional outpouring for Alexander Ovechkin and his accomplishment. He wins the Conn Smythe Award for most valuable player in the playoffs, and deservedly so. He's the leading goal scorer and had another one tonight on the power play, and from that same spot that he always loves to park at. I am joined by a awesome complement of hosts, co-hosts, panelists, whatever you want to call them. One, Alexander Martinet. Alex, how are you doing? What are your first thoughts?
Go Caps. I'm glad they won. I'm glad Vegas has to learn the brutal struggles of playoffs. Maybe actually might develop a history of it. I'm really glad for, Ovi. I think he's done enough with this league. He's been one of the best players for a decade long. I think that cements his legacy with this Cup win.
Yes, for sure. And David Evans put it perfectly on Twitter this evening. Vegas having this amazing year and having their hearts ripped out at the last moment just describes hockey in every way. Welcome to hockey, fuckers. We're also joined by Mr. AJ Strong. AJ, how are you doing this evening? What are you drinking? Who are you drinking?
That would be the new Aloha Sculpin, of course.
Ooh, that's good. I've had that. Yes,
because Ballast Point. No, dude, not Atlanta Thrashers account. Oh, man. Hashtag take a seat. Same amount of cups. Yeah, how can you not be happy for Sharks East? I mean, Washington Capitals. Guess we can no longer call them Sharks East, but hold on. Can we make a decision here? Either park it or do something. Yeah, I'm just very happy to say, and I have a friend she is a massive Caps fan. She's from DC, so nice to see that for her. And I got to be honest that there was an awful lot of hubris coming from Now, I'll be the first to say as well, after the Caps were up 3-1 in this series, I went looking for salt. I was on Twitter and I'm going, let's see.
It's awfully quiet out there.
Well, that was the shocking point is, and granted, after 27 years, you become a little bit jaded because we've seen, when the Sharks get down 3-1, you see Twitter, but the Sharks are going to choke again and blah, blah, blah. And just everybody gets down. And to Vegas fans' credit, I'll tell you, there was an awful lot of optimism after Game 4. A lot of people saying, look, we've made so much history this year, we can continue to do it. And, we're coming back to T-Mobile and yada, yada, yada. But the thing that I kept kind of pointing out is you realize that every single series played by these games was won on the road. Coming back to T-Mobile doesn't exactly fit that narrative, but there was a lot of hubris, and maybe we'll see some humbler fans next season.
Well, with that being said, the humblest of humblest Canadians, the Canadian robot himself, Ian Reed is also joining us. Ian, how are you doing this
is Ian back from burning down the White House?
I am back from burning down the White House. I apologize. I made sure that I was completely covered in Canadian steel to prove that it is, in fact, a national security threat when I did it.
Damn, I have to say you look good for 206 years old.
Thank you. I am a robot after all, so I do plan on living forever and, doing this show long after you guys are dead. That's terrible. I like what AJ said about mining for salt, because I think I just mine for salt all the time. I really don't care who's salty. I just love the salt. Bring it to me. But that being said, hats off to Vegas, man. This is a team that although a lot of people now won't admit that, they were calling for a 20-win season, they did a lot of shit that no one expected them to do, or at least a lot of people didn't expect them to do. Whether they'll admit that today or not, another story entirely. But hey, Washington, they've definitely had their troubles. They were, we affectionately refer to them as Sharks East for a damn good reason, and now we're alone in our misery. Although maybe are we St. Louis South now? I don't know.
But the St. Louis Midwest Sharks?
Yeah. But I don't want to be compared to St. Louis.
Right? Like, I know. It's like all the other teams that are like, because I was thinking about this yesterday. I'm like, okay, so who is the new Sharks East? Because you want it to be in the East. You don't want it to be a rival. Yeah. Because that's just not cool. But I can't think of a team that's
Columbus, but no,
they've had all the downs and none of the ups.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't exactly.
Yeah, good luck, guys.
Yeah.
Let's put that to the chat, shall we?
Yeah. Chat, who do you think is Sharks East? And we'll Panthers? Maybe?
Yeah,
Florida
I was thinking
Panthers?
about that. Panthers, yeah.
Have the Panthers, but the Panthers, other than a couple of runs, they've been dog shit. Washington's been a perennial contender.
Yeah. A perennial choker.
They getting run over by Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
you can't be a choker if you're not a contender. That's all I'm saying.
That is true.
True that.
Oh my god.
And let's also talk just for a hot second. I don't know if you guys were paying attention, but there at one point back in September, if you were in Vegas, you had the option to put down some cash and get 500 to 1 odds.
We talked about that before you hopped on.
Yeah, but that wasn't on air.
Oh.
So just the fact that there was the option to be bought out before the series.
And kudos to you that did, because you are now richer than the people who didn't.
Right? And what was it? It was that you were able, if you had 500 to 1, they would buy you out 100 to 1 or something.
$10,000, I think, 10 G's at the start of the series.
Depending on what, I think that was based on how much you bet.
Right.
Yeah, I was saying, 10 G's for every $10 you bet?
No, I think it was $100 and you get 10 G's. I think if you put $100 down at the beginning of the year.
So $1,000 to every dollar you bet?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
So they're going to pay 1,000 to 1?
No. It was $10,000. So wasn't it like?
But that was just an example. I don't. Yeah,
I was going to say it can't be a flat rate because
Vegas is gonna. Let me find this out. I will.
Google look into this because I remember talking with somebody about that. I think it might have been Nevis.
Yeah.
And anyway, if you took the buyout, way to see it coming, guys. But I can't imagine too many people did.
Lacey said it was 500 to 1. And Lacey, why are you on the chat?
No. Here. It was 500 to 1 to start with in September. I'm talking about what it was for the offered buyout before the season or before the series started. I remember seeing it. In fact, if I had time to go back on my timeline, I remember tweeting that out and going back and forth with Nevis on that. But if you were the person who took the buyout,
I feel like it was
and how could you take that buyout with the way things were rolling? It's like they steamroll the Kings in a sweep, get past the Sharks in 6, who up at that point had given them their most the biggest scare at winning 2 games, then getting Winnipeg in 5. You had to have felt great.
And that's what we were actually also talking about that too pre-show, was that the Sharks put up the most resistance among the path for Vegas, and until
Washington.
Until what? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, of course.
And so I think it just goes to show you how evenly matched that those teams were. It goes to show you that the Sharks, just a few bounces here and there, and one hot goaltender, and who knows, we could have been playing the Capitals in the end. But I think for everybody here, I think
Sharks
we're just
versus Sharks West.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to see it, because at least for me, even if the Sharks didn't win in the Stanley Cup, but they played against Ovi, It's like, how could you not be mad? How could you be mad at that outcome? Either way, you're gonna win.
Gen X just hit me up on Twitter, and he says that the Sharks should win by 2033 if you follow the trend of the Kings and the Capitals.
Oh.
All right, guys.
That's good knowledge right there.
Well, it looks like we got another, what is that, 17 years to wait?
Oh, I need a DeLorean.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Well, ask the Canucks how they feel.
Yeah, I know. I was also saying it would have been nice to see our 19-8 raise the cup like their 19-8 did, but you know what? Like I said, I don't think there could have been a better outcome in all of the NHL, to be quite honest, to see Ovi, get that cup and finally, check off all the boxes going into the Hall. I mean, we knew he was going to be a Hall player, but he was always going to be that greatest player who never won a title. Joined Dan Marino and joined countless others, and pinnacle of your sport, but you never won the big crown. And
based on the 2033 deadline, Joe Thornton.
So who's the next Hall of Famer who doesn't, or presumed Hall of Famer that hasn't won the cup yet?
Joe Thornton.
Are we talking about Thornton, or we're talking about Marlowe? I think Marlowe's on the edge, but
I think Joe Thornton's a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer.
I think that Patrick Marleau going to Toronto elevated his Hall of Fame status, because you can't tell me after Sportsnet and TSN ran all of those things on Patrick Marleau and all of his different milestones, that didn't wake some eyes up in the Hall.
So who else though?
But he was with all the kids, and then all the kids didn't perform in the playoffs. And
I don't know what.
hanging out with Marleau the whole time, and I don't know, guys.
What about the Sedins?
Oh yeah,
Sedins for sure.
Yeah, but they retired, so I guess.
But they're definitely
like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, guys. Let me go through it. Let me.
I'm still trying to.
Who's the goaltender?
I'm still trying to find out if this is the first time.
Henrik Lundqvist.
Lundqvist. I'm still trying to figure out who the hell knows what team won a Stanley Cup and won every single playoff series on the road.
I think this is the first time.
2009 Pittsburgh Penguins. Darren Stevens responded to you immediately.
No, that was winning the first 3 series, but I don't think he said that they actually won the cup, did he?
2009. They won in 09.
And they won that on the road?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, in Detroit. Wow. By the way, Washington won all 4 of their elimination games. They did not lose, so they did it on the first try in all 4 rounds.
All of them on the road.
Yeah.
Wait, was Washington versus Columbus an elimination game? Because they won that in 6. I think. Yeah.
By the way, I'm at Kevin Lacey 22, and I'm freaking ecstatic.
Yeah, I know, me too. Kevin, we were asking greatest Hall of Famer never to win a cup, or presumed Hall of Famer, if you want to include Jumbo.
Who else?
Yeah, that's kind of
Lundqvist.
Mike Gartner. Mike Gartner's up there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Gilbert, Marcel Dion is probably, to me, the best.
Yeah, it's got to be in the
Does Yager qualify just because it's been so long?
No, he won.
I'll take his career.
But no, I mean, we can scratch that off of Ovi's resume or lack thereof, and can add it to his resume. Just, I mean,
Pavel Bure?
Pavel Bure.
Yeah. Do you guys? I mean, I don't think I've
Luongo.
Lindros, Luongo. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck Lindros.
I just think he's got to be included. He's in the Hall of Fame. Like, I don't think he should be there, but that's another conversation for another day.
Oh man, he still should have been a Shark, but I'll say that for later. Do you guys? I mean, do you guys think that this elevates Ovi's status now? I mean, there's no question that he is the greatest goal scorer in the NHL, or we're still looking at Wayne there? I mean, what do you guys think? Pure goal scorer.
I think it's stupid that that's even a conversation. Like the numbers are there. Like for so many hockey fans that are like, just look at the numbers. Go look at the numbers. Like Ovechkin has always been like the Capitals didn't lose because of Ovechkin in most of those series. In fact, like Ovechkin was like one of the few things that kept them in a lot of those series when they were, disappointing their fans nonstop. Like the narrative around Ovechkin, the narrative around Joe Thornton is the same. In my opinion, it's always been garbage.
Yeah,
it's cheap, it's easy. I don't think. Yeah, will it change it? For sure. I mean, the guy's got a Stanley Cup and a Conn Smythe. You can't take that away from him. But at the end of the day, it should have never been there to begin with.
Right. Kevin, I mean, you're wearing an Ovechkin jersey, but what do you think?
Best thing I bought this year, man. I've been waiting all these years to get one, and I finally bought one this year.
What do you think on Ovi cementing himself now as the greatest goal scorer to play in the NHL?
For me, it's him or Lemieux, and they're my two favorite players of all time. And I know it's way too deep in my Twitter timeline at this point, so I don't know. But someone did an era versus era perspective or comparison, and I believe Lemieux still won out on that, comparing eras, like with adjusted rates and all that. I don't know how these people come up with that, but I think Lemieux was still ahead.
So what you're saying is
if
I put it on Twitter and maybe add some hashtags, I can be right? So I'm going to do this right now. I think Kevin is going to tweet me, and it's going to be epic.
Yeah, I still think is the number one scorer. I think with the Cup win, though, is he in the race of top 5, top 10 player? I think with that Cup, he's now in that category, or at least he's in the discussion.
Yeah, I mean, a cup enters that discussion of top, 20 of all time statistically. Statistically it was there, but I mean, as far as like actual credentials to get you into the conversation, yeah, I think for sure. I think.
God, man, are you doing other people's laundry now, or is that just all yours?
No, that's just all mine. But I mean, for me at least, I think he's going to go down as the greatest goal scorer to play in the NHL, pure goal scorer. I mean, just kind of, all things aside, all other points aside, whether it's assists or what have you, I think Ovi is the greatest pure goal scorer ever. He scored the most goals in the hardest era to play in. Mm-hmm. And if you were to put Ovechkin in Lemieux's era or the beginning of Gretzky's era, heck, you even go back to Orr's era, he would have scored at an amazing amount a clip. Just across
Lonnie's era.
Just to put this into perspective, I mean, he has 607 goals. He's only 32. Scoring another couple hundred is like I don't think he would ever touch. No one's going to touch Gretzky's points record, I don't think. But he could be the most prolific scorer the NHL's ever had by the time it's all said and done.
Yeah.
How many at this point?
He has 607 goals. He's only 32.
Lazy schmuck. Right.
Yeah, I know.
You saying he's only 32? I thought he was like 39.
No.
He's been in this league for such a long time that
he looks like Father Time is like caught up to him color wise, but
dude, that's all the vodka catching up to him. All right, I mean seriously, that's all that is.
It's the Russian super serum.
Yeah, it is.
It's only gonna get worse tonight.
Exactly. It was weird watching Ovi. I was Ovi? I'm like, how did Ovi get older than I am?
Right, but I mean, like, I'm not saying he's obviously he's gonna start declining because age is Father Time catches up to all of us, but I mean, guys are playing longer in the league than ever.
Ian Yager should share some like aging secrets. I'd love to see Ovi play till he's like 45.
You don't think he can score another 200 goals before it's all said and done over the next?
Yeah.
Dude, Jaromir Jagr could score with another 200 models before the end of this year.
I mean, honestly, though, I mean, just the last sequence of events when we saw that cup and the realization that Ovi is going to actually win this thing. I have that image of him looking over at Backstrom and just that sigh of relief that, oh my God, we fucking did this. Like it just the pure joy and emotion. I don't think I've seen it since. I don't know.
So I don't think I've seen it since Carolina, to be honest.
I was even going more like Messier. I mean, when Messier won that one in New York, when he was just that, like he did it himself. He didn't have Wayne. He didn't have Coffee. He didn't have any of the other surrounding players, and he did it himself. That's what it reminded me.
He did have the HL front office.
I think I'd ask Mike Richter about him doing it himself.
Yeah.
But you know, just that pure emotion. I have not seen that on a Stanley Cup winner in a long time. Maybe the first Black Hawk Cup, you know, when they brought it to Chicago. I mean, maybe, but I don't know. To me, it was just, you could just see it in his eyes. He just did it, and he was thrilled beyond words, and he looked like a kid again.
After 54 years in New York, I think it could have been anybody who lifted it at Madison Square Garden, and I still would have been like, hell yeah, it's about time.
Yeah.
Crazy thing with Ovechkin is the fact, now the rumors weren't really substantiated, but there were still rumors before the season of Ovechkin playing in the KHL over the bitterness of the NHL not going to the Olympics because he wanted to play for Russia. Like he made no secret about that. I don't think there was ever a threat of him leaving the NHL this season, but that was a rumor, and boy, is he glad he stayed.
The bigger rumor, I think, though, was the fact that Ovi might want out after this year if they burned out again. And
yeah,
you know, I think this just cements him there. I don't think him and Ted Leonsis are breaking up anytime soon.
Is
that contract lifetime, or is that career?
I think it's an invisible ink that it's lifetime in there. But okay, the real question is, do the Capitals go to the Kremlin first or the White House first?
Jesus. Well, DSP's going to the Kremlin first, so.
You know, considering, I think that the Capitals, because where they're located, kind of are compelled to go to the White House, but who knows what happens between now and whenever that's, you know, quote unquote scheduled visit might come. But you've already seen the Cavs and the Golden State Warriors both are like, yeah, no matter who wins, we're not going. You already saw what happened with the Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles set the precedence.
Yeah. Well,
you know
the Warriors,
the funniest
last time, because the Warriors went to, you know, the Museum of like African American History or something instead of it last season.
No, they went. They didn't want to go. They went. Yeah, they did.
Well, they've been reporting it differently.
No, that's the only one. No, it's the Warriors did not go. It was the Pens that went.
Yes.
The Penguins.
Yeah. If you remember, if you go back to 2011, Tim Thomas famously did not go.
I remember.
Yeah,
but you know that the icing on the cake would be if they go to the White House and Putin all of a sudden showed up.
because hashtag Ovi.
Yeah, hashtag Ovi.
It wouldn't surprise me if next week or when the schedule gets announced for NHL, they have one game in Russia, and that's when they do it for the Kremlin and everything else.
Here's the thing with the White House, though, and I will drop this topic as quickly as I spit this out because I know I'm going to get in trouble. But
don't add people. Don't add.
You did burn it.
No. Wait. Here's the thing with Tim Thomas, right? Like, I know he took a lot of shit for not going to the White House, but that's his choice. Like, that's everybody's individual choice. If you're the president, you don't disinvite teams. You're supposed to be everyone's president. You fucking smile and nod. Sorry, pardon my language. You smile and nod, and and then you talk shit on Twitter after. I don't care if a player doesn't want to go. That's fine. That's their personal choice. The president, regardless of who it is, regardless of what side of the aisle he represents, should be the bigger man. Period.
No,
absolutely.
Totally agree. I don't think you'll hear any of us say any differently. I mean, yeah, I think if anything, it should be up to the players, and the White House should not uninvite just because they're not going to get a big crowd or whatever. I mean, we saw the Eagles, only 10 players were going to show up, so he canceled because he thought it was going to be a bad look.
Well, there's some certain stipulations that you have to follow, right? Like you have to be 35 or above, you have to be born in America. Perhaps we can just add that you have to hit an IQ test at a certain level. You have to take a narcissism test. Maybe we need a few more tests before we can say, you know what, you're fit to be the nominee this time. Just maybe.
I would say though that
that's what the Electoral College is supposed to be for, but
yeah,
we'll that for later.
The Electoral College needs to be abolished.
Yeah, well, that too. I would say though that by going to the White House, it's more about the White House is somehow becoming more about the individual, not about the office, and so that's a large reason why you see lawyers, everything else not go because of their political views against Trump.
Which is fine. I don't begrudge players that go. I don't begrudge players that don't. I just think when it comes to disinviting teams, that's where I draw the line, because I think that, again, the individual has their choice, but as the president, you got to smile and nod, be the bigger man.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're getting requests. We're getting requests off the Wahoo to get off this subject. So let's
talk about the game.
Well, and that's exactly where I was going to go with next was.
Capitals won. So moving on.
I think they showed a lot of resolve, and I don't know that a Capitals team has showed that much resolve within a series, let alone a run, let alone in a single game. I mean, this thing that the Vegas was up, and they could have folded like a house of cards, but Devontae Smith-Belly comes through with a great game tying goal. And they really just kind of picked up a lot of steam from there. I mean, Kevin, overall, what are your thoughts on the game?
Just with jumping to that point, I think the worst thing that happened to Vegas tonight was taking a lead in the third period, because that gave Washington the shot of adrenaline they needed to go home with this.
Right.
I think the best case scenario would have been that game was tied 2-2 going into the third, because I think Vegas stepped off the gas a bit, or even more so, Washington really put the pedal to the metal. I definitely agree with the resiliency. We saw it all playoffs. We saw it at the start of the playoffs where Washington was down 2-0 to Columbus in the playoffs, and here I was saying, I picked Columbus in the first round, and I'm freaking happy I was wrong. But man, time and time again, Washington leads the league. They have their own record for most blown series leads, 3-1 series leads. And here they were 3-1 again. It's like, there's your statement. Close it out in one game. Way to go.
Now, let me ask, if Holtby doesn't make the save in game 2, do you think the Capitals win at all?
I'm a little disappointed in your lack of emphasis on the save. But
okay. Save of the year, the Galaxy, ever.
No, I still like the following game with the miss. But anyway,
we saw the pass this game from Backstrom to Ovechkin. My lord.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Boy, I don't know. See, that's a good point. I think maybe like the save kind of steeled the Capitals a little bit, saying, you know what, we can do this. The thing that got me the most, I would say, like when it comes to social media and some people's takes on it, was they were saying like, well, it was after like maybe it was game 3, might have been after game 4, but a lot of, Vegas just looks absolutely gassed. They look they've just played. And I'm like, dude, like the first 3 rounds, the Capitals played 5 more games. How can they, and you're going to say Vegas is gassed? Really?
They had
Okay.
5 days off between series. Actually, Vegas had more days off
Yeah.
between series than the
Yeah, they had like a week off between each series, and it's and you had Washington having to go to Tampa for a game 7, and I'm like, really? You're going to throw that on the that they looked gas? Get a GTFO. Give me a break.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think just going through the series, the path of least resistance was definitely taken by Vegas. I mean, they go through LA in a sweep. They go through the Sharks. They go through Winnipeg in 5 games. Mind you, Winnipeg had just gone through a bloody knuckles draw 'em out, series with the Predators. I mean, look, Vegas had a pretty good path. I mean, you had a pretty easy path. A path kind of set up for them. Their biggest resistance was in that second series against the Sharks, and they came through. Now you look on the flip side. I mean, the Capitals started off down 0-2. I mean, they lost 2 home games against Columbus. I mean, they were dead to rights for all we knew. Then they had to play their arch nemesis, the monkey on their back, Pittsburgh. I mean, that they could have folded up after that series.
Can I go on the Capitals series series with the Jackets though?
Yeah,
I mean they kind of did that to themselves when they didn't start Holtby for 2 games.
Well, true. It was self-inflicted for sure, but I mean, still, it doesn't take away from the fact that they were down in an 0-2 hole and they had to come back from that. I mean, it didn't go 7, but it went. They had to climb out of that.
Yeah, that was a great series, by the way. Just all the OT games in that series. It only went 6.
And then, of course, quick behind-the-scenes look at the show. We're texting photos of a girl flashing her rack at Ovi during the Cup Final.
Wait, what?
Kevin's like, I want in on these texts.
Yeah, what?
Get in on the shared Twitter, bro. It's going around. Some girl in a white dress flashed Ovi as he's skating around doing his relap.
What was
but that's that's Vegas.
Yeah,
that's Vegas. No, I don't know that anything's ever gonna beat. What was it? There was a game in Vancouver. Some girl in Vancouver flashed somebody in the penalty box. That went around forever. That was like 5-6 years ago.
Well, what happens in Vegas? Wow. Okay. What happens in Vegas ends up on Twitter,
goes viral.
So it doesn't stay in Vegas. That's what you're saying.
No, it went viral.
Who was the meathead in the penalty box for that? Because that was in the Sharks series too.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wasn't that like Ben Eager or something?
Yeah, it was Ben Eager. It was Ben.
Was it? I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, it was that Vancouver series, right?
Yeah.
I think Ben Eager versus Vancouver.
Remember, like this? It wasn't. Remember, it was like the 7-1 game where like he scored a goal and like talked crap down at Luongo, even though they were down 7-1 or something stupid at that point. Oh,
was it Ben Eager or was it Raffi Torres? I
no, it definitely wasn't Raffi. Dude, he never played enough games to be around that long.
Yeah. Vancouver was Raffi Torres was on Vancouver that series.
Oh, okay, that's. Yeah.
Oh, that's where you're getting it.
Yeah.
Hey, the best part, and it's already captioned, but the best part of that picture is Andre Burakovsky being like, "Oh yeah,
that's
all
right."
If anybody on that team would know about naked breasts, it's Andre Burakovsky.
I don't know, man. If Evgeny Kuznetsov might be a guy I might want to party with.
Dude, I guarantee you. Jaromir Jagr was watching it and he was like, "Yeah, I hit it."
or I've seen better.
I don't want to know where that cup is going to go once Burakovsky and Mia Khalifa get a hold of it. So.
Okay, here's the thing. I mean, is there a better if you're Washington though? Could you pick a better place to win the cup?
Yeah, we were talking about that too.
Come on, NHL. Kudos to you. You know what's up.
NHL, you're the real winner here.
You're the real winner here, NHL.
A little bit motivated to win tonight, maybe just in part with that, because I guarantee you, they're like, so the team team planes flying back tonight, and they're like, that's going to be a good time for you guys. Enjoy flying back with our equipment.
You got Barry Trotz and his whole neck plus Brian McClellan. That's about it.
Ovechkin might not survive the night.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, that's what I was saying. God, we might find Ovechkin somewhere like face up in his own vomit and vodka.
That Stanley Cup is going to see some shit tonight.
Oh yeah, it will. Yeah.
Oh, I want to see them like playing on a craps table where the cup is at the other end, just sitting on the table.
Will they gamble away the cup though?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Like if they put that on the blackjack table, it's like, can you catch this?
Yeah. I want to put this on black
tomorrow. Like, is Gary Bettman have to like write a check to Caesars tomorrow to get the cup back?
Whoa, Landi, why did the Capitals bet on black and not red?
Oh, that's true.
Hello.
Yes, we want to put everything on red.
I'm looking at a stat right now, talking about how everyone on Tilted Glasses last night. We talked about everybody really stepping up for the Caps. Leading game-winning goals for the Caps, 3 for Lars Eller. Second place, Ovechkin, Kuznetsov, Oshie, Smith-Pelly, and Vrana, all with 2.
Dude,
I thought Oshie had a fantastic series.
He
was so key in games 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Kuznetsov, boy, that kid grew up so fast in this playoffs. I mean, it reminded me of Couture's run. I mean, that Kuznetsov just had a hell of a run this year.
I thought Kuznetsov was going to win the.
I did too.
Yeah.
It would have been.
I thought he would have, but you knew Ovi was going to get it. Hello.
Storyline.
Yeah. It's like you had to, but no, Oshie for me, I thought you could have almost made an argument for him. Like he might have come like in 3rd or 4th on that list for the Conn Smythe. Oshie, I don't know, man. That games 3 and 4, but especially game 4, man, that dude was a tank. Reverse hit. And even I'm still surprised that Jamie Hirsch hasn't corrected her tweet that she said, Oshie elbows Miller in the face, no call. And I'm going, what freaking angle is she looking at?
Yeah.
Are they talking about the reverse hit, right?
Well, the reverse hit, and it was like it seemed so obvious that Miller just skated right into Oshie put himself in the position to take that hit, but he just stood strong, knew it was in, exploded, but he didn't he exploded. Dude was already leaning back like that when the elbow was starting to come up. Miller took all the brunt on his on Oshie's helmet, and Jamie Hirsch sitting there and other people saying he totally elbowed him. I'm like, what replay are you looking at? And then I like that tonight in the first 5 or 6 minutes, they did a replay from a different angle, and you see like his elbow didn't come anywhere near his face.
Yeah.
So
I thought it was just a reverse hit.
Oh, it was it was a hit of the series.
Yeah, for sure.
I was just gonna say wrap up Kuznetsov. I mean, let's not forget the Capitals had to wait 4 years for Kuznetsov after they drafted him for Kuznetsov to finally come over to North America. Like they waited a long time for this player, and boy, was it worth it. Like, I mean, I had him in my fantasy hockey league since 2011, and I had to wait 3 years for the guy to come over, and it was just like, oh, come on, Evgeny. Mm-hmm. And he's been lights out for them ever since. Like, if Ovechkin wasn't on the Caps, this would be a Kuznetsov jersey. So,
yeah, for sure. And you know what? I think it just goes to show you that team was definitely the sum of its parts. It wasn't just one guy, pulling on the reins, so to speak. It was all of them, and I'm really happy for them. And it was really a good team win. I mean, it was going to take epic execution to beat Vegas.
Yeah.
We just saw Vegas play such a complete team game. I mean, the keys to the Capitals winning that series was the physicality, which, I thought that they showed a lot of. I think that they also broke finally broke their forecheck, the Vegas's forecheck, and just solved Fleury. I mean, waited him out a few different times and took some really bad angle shots, and they got into his head, and that was
all for all the kudos Fleury got in those first 3 rounds and everything.
Well deserved.
His percentage for the final series was abysmal.
Yeah, he didn't get a lot of help though.
He didn't get,
No, he didn't. But for how great it was to start with, abysmal.
And
I blame that more on the defensive core of Vegas and how it didn't show up in the finals than Fleury himself, because I thought he played pretty decent. He helped 3 or 4 saves. It just, the puck didn't just not go their way for Vegas, and it just Washington was at the puck more often, and that was the kind of the difference.
But I think it was because of the physicality. I mean, I think that for whatever reason, the Capitals put up the most physicality against Vegas.
They definitely. I mean, they pulled Theodore off his game. They pulled McNabb off his game with the hits. Like, they started making just weird pinches and weird giveaways that they just had not made the entire playoffs.
I still think though that Vegas doesn't have a strong first line talent. Ovechkin was the difference in the series. But like, that was the difference. Ovechkin, Oshie, those are all first line talents, and Thomas Tatar was supposed to be that player for them, which they gave up a lot for, and he was a complete bust. I would say one of the biggest busts of recent memory.
I hated that trade when it happened. I still hate that trade. However, if Vegas had won the cup, that would not have mattered because they won the cup. And I equate that to Lars Eller. We crapped all over Lars Eller for a 2nd and a 3rd round pick. Are you serious, Washington?
Yeah,
what are you doing? Doesn't matter now.
No.
And Washington won the other trade too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess now they won the Forsberg trade.
Oh my God.
No, you're right, though. That's a tar trade. Ugh.
Yeah, that Forsberg for Erat trade way back when sure helped them out now.
Yeah. Well, hey, remember how we listened to how Boston won the Joe Thornton trade after they won?
Because, but they did, though, because it
opened the hell.
Yeah, they said Mark Savard and Zdeno Chara. So, yeah, they did win that.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Boston did win.
They didn't even have a team coming out of the lockout. Like, they had the fewest signed players under contract after the lockout.
Hey, they have a Stanley Cup, and we still don't. That's kind of the bottom line.
ESPN stats and info, guys, on Ovechkin getting his first Stanley Cup. These are the most regular season goals at the time of their first Stanley Cup win. David Anderchuk, 634 goals with a 2000 and won it in 2004 with the Lightning.
Luke 40 or 41.
Yeah, I remember that being kind of his epic Father Time season. Luke Robitaille with 620 goals. He won it in 2002 with the Red Wings, and Luke had been in the NHL for quite a while as well. OV 607 goals, 2018. Wow. And
I hear Chris Chelios is coming back next year.
You know what though? But like, unlike most of those players, like some of those players were at their team, but I mean, Ovechkin didn't mercenary himself out. Like Luke Robitaille mercenaried himself out.
Brett Hull
mercenaried himself out.
Chuck, all mercenaried out. Yeah, to never, and they did not bring the Stanley Cup to their originally drafted team, but Ovi did.
Kudos Ovi.
Yeah,
and that Pele goal in the 3rd period, that is an amazing shot.
Dude, he could have just as easily missed the net with that shot.
Yeah,
the angle he was at.
The thing that I was thinking about was in the dying seconds of that game, how Nicky Backstrom was just a little off on that empty net goal. I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna come back to beat them. I was like clenching my butt just that little bit more because like, oh my God. Ovi and the Caps are going to figure out how to lose this, and
once they got beyond the Pittsburgh thing, it was over. And you want to talk about mercenaries? The one that really gets me is Ray Bourque.
Oh, Borky, yeah.
That one.
What a mercenary!
Oh, absolutely, what a mercenary.
Yeah, to stay with one team for that long and then just okay. I'm kidding.
You want to win? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Apparently,
The
Pelly
thing that I'm
and
going to be
Ovechkin-
really interested in watching over the next 5 years is how things work in Vegas.
Yeah.
You know, this is I tweeted this quite a while back. Is that Vegas going to the final could be both the best and the worst thing to happen, not only to the NHL but to the Vegas franchise. Let's see what happens next year if Vegas gets bounced in the first round. Weird things happen. I don't know, you know, obviously, Ian, you follow the cap stuff a hell of a lot more than I do, but I'm sure that there's going to be moves to be made. Edmonton is clearly...
Go ahead.
What?
I'll let you finish.
Well, I was just going to say, Edmonton clearly going to be making some moves. You would expect them to have a bounce back. Vancouver, I still think, is another, you know, a couple seasons away from doing something. Anaheim and LA will still be viable. I still think Arizona is going to be dog shit no matter what Hockey Jerk says. And and Calgary, I think, is still, you know, they're just that always that bubble out team. Yeah. So, and I think the Sharks should easily make make the postseason. So Vegas, you know, who's to say that they even make the playoffs next season? They probably will, but my whole thing is, let's see what happens over the course of just the next 5 to 6 seasons. Say that they miss a couple times. Say that they go 2-3 consecutive times, that they get bounced in the first round every time. We saw that happen with the Sharks. Let's see if that fan base sticks with them in 5-6 years. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the scary thing about this team, though. Yes, William Karlsson's going to get paid. He's pretty much the only guy that's going to get paid. Like, if they keep James Neal, it'll be probably at a similar deal, right? They have money to blow. Like, they could be a huge player in free agency. And that's the thing that should scare people most is everyone wants to talk about what if the Sharks get John Tavares. Nevada has no state tax, people. It's going to be one of these places where top players are going to want to go and keep most of their money instead of losing it all to state tax and escrow. They could. And
when you're in Vegas, if there's 2 words that are exciting, it's the words money and blow.
Right. Absolutely. But that's the thing, though, with Vegas, right? Like they have draft picks. If I'm the rest of the division, I'm scared because they made a serious run at Erik Karlsson before the deadline. And now that trade's so much easier because you're not trading off your roster before a playoff.
Oh, yeah, and you're neglecting the $6.99 buffets as well.
So I mean,
that's steak and eggs for $1.50.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's this team. I'm not so convinced. Like, this team could still make a big splash in free agency or make a huge trade, and they're still sitting pretty. They've still got draft picks to blow, and they've got cap space to blow. Just as much as the Sharks, almost. I mean, they can. This team could still be good next year, and
they could be viable. I'm just saying. I want to see what happens over the next 5 to 10 years. Obviously, it's not going to be the same, but
I think, and also to piggyback on AJ's thought, I want to see what their fan base looks like next year.
That's what I'm talking about.
What their fan base
losing is the greatest thing that could happen.
I think so too. Yep.
I don't think this year's going to be anything. I think it's going to be 2 years down the line when the Las Vegas Raiders, finally start playing.
Perfect, Al. That was also a really good point that I wanted to add too. It's the sports landscape. There's going to change,
but this is still an area. Like, I mean, those seasons don't super they overlap a little, but they don't overlap significantly.
I asked my cousin who lives in Las Vegas the same question earlier this year, and she said the city is full on interested in the Knights. Like, the Raiders was not even in the same picture. Not saying they weren't excited about the Raiders, but they were saying it was 2 completely separate entities.
Well, let's be honest. The reason being is that if for some reason, say, not like this would ever happen, but for some reason, say that the Raiders were folding, or say some NFL team was folding, I shouldn't say folding, but it's that it gives somebody movement, but instead instead of it being a situation of relocation, they were getting like their own team, like the Baltimore Ravens or, you know, something like that. If that was the case, I think Vegas would be much more jacked. But it's the fact that, okay, we're getting a team that's left their hometown twice. You know, they left Oakland, they left LA, and, you know, and they don't have the best reputation, as it were. I think that has a bit to do with it. And that, I think that's one of the reasons why San Jose loved the Sharks so much, is the fact that it was their first and only team. It wasn't. Right. Yeah, okay, Minnesota North Stars a little bit, but it wasn't an absolute, you know.
I want to add something to that, AJ, because you brought up a really good point. I think the other thing that Vegas fans are going to like more too, if you're more fiscally, you know, conservative, is the fact that you didn't pay a dime for Vegas's arena, and you're going to pay out the rear end in taxes for the new Raiders arena.
Right, and I think the other thing too, I mean, I think just playing devil's advocate here, the Raiders have already have an established fan base, right? I mean, there's going to be a lot of Oakland fans that will still root for the Raiders. So it's kind of like an international brand versus a local grassroots, you know, brand that the Knights are. So it'll be interesting. I think that they're going to have a really strong following. I don't think it's going to fall off a cliff, but I do see maybe some declines. You know, let's say that they do get bounced in the first round a couple of times in the next couple of years. I think maybe we could see an impact of like 2,000 to 3,000 on that arena of seating, but I don't think we'll see full on, you know, Florida Panthers. I don't think we'll see full on.
No, I don't either.
You know, Carolina Hurricanes. I don't think we're going to see that level, because I think they did it the right way, and they're entrenching themselves in the community. And like the Sharks did, they're building out arenas for kids. They're really, I mean, hockey is for everyone, and that's how they're presenting it.
Right. And here's the thing about Vegas. Like, when people think Vegas, they think the Strip. But if you live in Vegas, you want nothing to do with the Strip unless there's a hockey game going on. Strip's filled with tourists. Like, there's like 2 million people that live in Vegas and surrounding area, probably more that live in surroundning area. That this is their thing, and I think
they avoid the Strip like the plague. Yeah,
right.
The other thing, that there's one other key element that we haven't discussed that I think could come into play over the next year or so, is the fact that recently the government established that they've opened it up to states as to whether or not sportsbook gambling can happen in their state. We saw the recent ruling in New Jersey. Delaware has already opened it up that you can bet on sports games in Delaware. How long before other states, and hello, I'm hoping California, I would love it if the Matrix or Bay 101 had a sports book. I'd be there every Sunday morning before kickoff, let me tell you. But that could potentially impact some of the attendance as well, especially during football season. I have a couple of friends that's a thing for them during football season. They go to Vegas once a month, and one of the things they do on Saturday is they go out to some strip clubs, have a good time, and it's funny, they're sitting there like,
this is a family show. It's a gentleman's club. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, gentleman's club, but they're sitting there making it rain. I'm sorry. They're contributing to the poor girls' college tuition.
Yes.
And so, anywho, while they're there, though, like, they're doing that, but they're also saying, okay, the spread's 7.5 tomorrow. What do you know? And they're sitting there working on their sports bets for the next morning before kickoff. I don't know that they're going to be making those treks to Vegas anymore if they can, instead of hopping on a flight, they can literally drive down the street 20 minutes, make a bet, and be home with some Pete's Coffee and Dunkin' Donuts or whatever, and, you know, park on their Barker Lounger and watch Sunday Ticket. You know what I mean?
I think it depends a lot if National Hockey League is going to adapt a similar position like basketball, where they're going to want a 5% royalty on bets. And if that's the case, then you might see some opposition towards that.
Maybe. I think sports betting, I think, is a little different.
And I think not only that, but I think sports betting in the NHL is kind of a new phenomenon, because it's not really been entrenched like football or like basketball or like horse racing. It's not something that you normally associate with the sport. So I think that there's still a level of intrigue around sports betting, especially when it comes to the NHL. And I think that
see, I'm not talking about hockey. I'm talking more about the Raiders and them embracing
gotcha.
that my friends would go for a football weekend. I have a couple of friends that are Raider fans that they've already got it where they're like, oh my God, how great is it going to be to, make our annual pilgrimage? Instead, we'll just go down and watch the Raiders play whoever and gamble beforehand, make some sports bets, then gamble afterwards, and then chill out, have our, $6.99 buffet and watch the late game and collect our winnings, blah, blah, blah. I don't know that they're going to be making those treks down there. And I think that's one of the ways that those people that will do those sports trips like that, you might be able to suck those people into the nights if you do it right. But the idea that gambling becoming a state issue, maybe some people, those snowbirds from Colorado or Minnesota who like to make those trips, maybe if they can go bet in their own backyard, maybe aren't making those trips as often.
Yeah, maybe. Quickly, just want to.
I don't know. I feel like Vegas, you still have to go to Vegas. I've been to Vegas 3 times, and if you haven't been, you have to go. You have to experience it for yourself.
Yeah, you can only experience Sodom and Gomorrah for yourself. I mean, you can't read about it.
You can't. No, you have to go. That's my advice to anyone who hasn't been. Go.
Thank you for everybody for watching. I mean, we've hovered around 30 people watching. That's pretty great for a non-Shark playoff episode. Thanks everybody. But if you would not mind, please subscribe or please tell any of your Knights or Capitals friends who's looking for some content. We're going to have some really great stuff coming up. We're going to have, and I'll take the wrapping off this now. June 16th, we're going to have a podcast super panel. And we will be talking to some. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. We're doing a super panel amongst the Sharks podcasters. I think all the big ones are going to be there. I mean, you're going to have us. You'll have Ian's Teal tinted glasses. You'll have Fear the Fin. You're going to have the Left Coast. I think you're going to have pretty much anybody doing a podcast. We're going to do a big round table together. So keep your ears out for that. We've also got
I've heard a rumor Jerk is going to be on for the Pucknologist, but I can't confirm.
So we're just going to have some great content coming down the pike. We're also looking at expanding the roster a little bit. So I put out a tweet a little bit earlier this afternoon. If you have not already, if anybody wants to be a part of the team, we're going to be holding interviews, conducting a search for some talent, so on air or writing. If you have any kind of interest in that, please contact us on Twitter. I think that's the best way to get around to it. And we're going to be sending out some questionnaire packets.
If you've ever seen The Dark Knight, we're going to be holding tryouts.
Yep, exactly. And then we're gonna have free agency content. We're gonna have draft day coverage. I think me and Ian will probably be doing draft day coverage, and it'll be interesting to see what the Sharks, get out of the draft. We'll see if there's any kind of wheeling and dealing draft day. There always is, and Doug Wilson loves to move up or move down in the draft, depending on who
for the draft. But continue.
well, there's the schedule reveal show. There's also the third jersey reveal that we being a part of. So that's, even though it's no longer hockey season, there's still stuff going on. The Sharks, in fact, already just announced that there's a prospect game coming July 6th. So, hey, now, hold on. What do we get paid if we join with the what?
Someone's getting paid.
Yeah, so
I was gonna say with a vodka puck. Do I still have that? I'm not even sure. I have to look.
Also,
I might have used it as a drink coaster.
Also, if you haven't followed us on social media, please do that. I mean, AJ broke down the prospect game that was coming out. He saw that on Ticketmaster and he tweeted it out. The other thing that AJ on his Instagram and Teal Town USA's Instagram, if you have not looked at it, is the new Chomp font coming back. It's making a reappearance. I think AJ's actually got a Chomp font item behind him on his chair.
Oh.
And that's going to be coming back on the hats of the 90s that you knew, you loved, and quite I mean, that was one of the first iconic fonts that I ever associated with the Sharks, and it's coming back. So he also broke that down on Instagram. So if you haven't already followed us on social media, go and do that.
I think the key to that is the 25th season, obviously, because it was the 25th season, we saw a lot of stuff come back. We saw the Heritage jersey with obviously the original crest, the circle fin secondary logo. We started seeing that circle fin logo on a lot of merch that season. But right after that, that's when the transition to the Fanatics came. And I forget, during the 25th season, we also saw the teal hoodies that had the black chomp font and whatnot. So they were definitely making a nod to their heritage during that season, but then they made that transition to where the Fanatics was commissioned to do all their merch. I was thinking that, man, I wonder if we're not going to see that stuff, because the Fanatics, as we know, if you look, everything is just across the board. Every design is the same, just change the color, replace the team logo. Everything else is exactly the same. Yeah. So I'm excited that the hats that I saw that had the chomp font, and I'll be honest with you, it wasn't perfect. The chomp font was just a scotch off. It wasn't like behind me. It was as Hockey Jerk is to Ian Reed. It was a reasonable facsimile, but it wasn't spot on. But the fact that they're using it and it's by Adidas leads me to believe that hopefully we'll see some more retro stuff.
Yeah, I think that also that third jersey reveal, it's going to be pretty awesome. I'm still holding out for that triangle fin logo, but something tells me the new set of secondary logos are going to get a little bit more airtime on that jersey. We also know
it's not look like this, bro.
Yeah, we also know that our friend John Totora likes his black on jerseys. So
no. In our interview, he said that he thought that black had run its course, but the overwhelming response to their survey was that fans preferred black. Which,
right? Okay.
When you see a game in Calgary, or you saw what Vegas looked like tonight with the Washington fans, you see that sea of red, and it infuriates me that they don't, instead of Black Friday, how about Teal Tuesday, where you just say, hey, everybody in the door that's wearing a teal jersey or a teal shirt, like, I don't know, gets like a $5 food credit or something. I mean, something to just push the whole thing of, let's just do this where this is Teal Town.
Yeah.
Shameless plug. But, it's not Team Black. It's not Team Orange. It's Team Teal. Let's push the whole teal things. When I see those Calgary games, those Washington games, and you just see nothing but red, it's very annoying to me. And oh my God, and Winnipeg with the whiteouts. And it's like, we can't do that with teal. Come
annoying
on,
in an envious way, like, why can't
yes,
we do that
exactly.
anything? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Or like the Winnipeg whiteout, right? It's like, come on, let's have some real pride for our color. It's,
or you see the gold in Nashville.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Sharks fans see better.
So I'm going to say we're going to wrap this thing up. We're about an hour in. Like I said, I really appreciate everybody who hopped on to this really quick impromptu victory celebration for Alexander Ovechkin and the Capitals. Kevin, where can the people find you? What are you up to these days?
You can find me at the Washington, D.C. parade. No, I'm just kidding. You can find me on Twitter at KevinLacey22. There's still a few things I wanted to talk about for the Caps, but I'll just quickly say.
Did somebody check on Hockey Jerk, though? Because I feel like we should check to make sure Hockey Jerk's not, like, hanging in his closet or something.
He was in the chat earlier. I don't know where the hell he went.
Is he hanging in his closet now? No, Penguins fan.
I think he's okay, but we seriously got a request for a wraparound. Really?
There is
the
no
AHL wraparound.
Okay.
The Texas Stars beat the Toronto Marlies. There you go.
Yeah.
No, okay. You want the wraparound? Okay. The Capitals victorious over the Golden Knights 4-3. Holtby picks up the win. Fleury picks up the loss. Back to you, Landy.
And Ovi gets the Conn Smythe. That's your wraparound. Ian, where can the people find you? What are you up to these days?
You can find me on the Twitter machine at Ian Blogs Hockey. I got my post hockey snark off early with an amazing tweet about the cycle of disappointment restarting with the draft coming up. You can check out. We just did a Teal Tinted Glasses last night. We do have some draft stuff planned for Teal Tinted Glasses. You can also find me on Teal Town USA, where I will be writing a prospect article. I am hoping tomorrow, if everything goes well, fingers crossed, but I can't promise nothing because it's been crazy.
Teal
Speaking
Town
of prospects,
Glasses.
do you like the new sign?
Yeah.
Very nice. Very, very nice.
Can you even
AJ
pronounce his name, man?
No. That's why
You gotta watch Teal Tinted Glasses to find out.
this is why I have Kevin. I don't pronounce names. Kevin does.
What,
Halabawat?
Suamela?
Oh, the new guy. The new kid
Salmonella.
from Finland.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying. How did you like the sign? We got a quick question that said, "How did you like the signing?"
Watch
I like
Teal
it.
Tinted
I don't know.
Glasses.
I don't know where the hell he's gonna play.
Yeah,
The Barracuda, dude.
The Barracuda are stacked. Like
Okay.
literally, they have so many forwards that they're coming out of their ears.
It's true.
Yeah, I hear
better
they're
have
trying to
some
get
room
Ryan
next year.
Carpenter back.
Oh,
Oh.
source. All right, Al, where can the people find you? What are you up to these days?
You can find me on Twitter at Al Martinet. I'm kind of just relaxing. I'm not really doing too much on Twitter, but yeah. But keep on track with me on that. I'm gonna probably do some stuff with Teal Town on the website. So all the above.
Alex, thank you so much for hopping aboard this year. We had a great time with you on, even though you do have some horrible ideas about anti-Name. We won't hold it against you. But
And congratulations on not being like in a lineup anymore, like a criminal lineup.
yeah, right. I mean, we've seen his room grow and evolve, and it's actually
This is just entire green screen, by the way.
Don't do that because Chester Chivo will Photoshop things in there. I mean, I had a Mike Brown teddy bear sitting in my laundry for quite a long time, and the keys to the Stanley Cup apparently in there too.
Dude, when he photoshopped in that maid from the maid from the Family Guy,
Yeah.
I was dying.
Yeah,
I think my first Teal Town episode, I had a green screen behind here, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take this down because I know something's gonna happen.
yeah, exactly. All right, AJ, wrap us up. Where can the people find you? What are you up to these days?
I'm just waiting for October, guys. AJ_strong on Twitter, on Instagram. Also throwing in some occasional stuff. Teal Town USA Insta. And what did I say wrong, or what's in the chat that's
Is it
so
any
funny?
consideration that the Sharks just got another ante?
Yeah.
Oh dear Lord.
I'm
Is he
bringing
gonna
it back.
suck too? No,
I'm
yeah,
bringing
no.
it
Is he gonna
back.
have one good season too, and then suck the other four?
He's
not
he's
stop-
Vesna worthy.
He cannot stop beach ball.
Yeah. So again, I mean, I know we mentioned it real quick, but do us a favor, subscribe. Again, we're gonna have some content coming down the pipe pretty soon because even though it's quote unquote end of the season, things are gonna start ramping up really soon, starting with in all likelihood the schedule reveal, which I am dying to see. What's the one Pacific Division team that we have to play 5 times instead of 4?
Right.
Because balance is so good.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm at Eric Landi on all of the social media garbages. I'm serious. If anybody out there wants to, come on and see if you got the chops to stand up with us, please go ahead and DM me. We've got positions open. We're looking for all kinds of perspectives, whether you're hardcore or just a passing fan. We kind of want. I know where you were going with that.
Oh no, you don't, Al. If you could do me a favor, switch it from Go Caps to now hiring.
No. The keyword, by the way, for job description is Niami.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you
That's
mention
okay.
Miami anywhere in the questionnaire that I give you, you're going to be disqualified.
It's
if you
okay.
do that
I'll
going in
get
with
this sign
Alex.
working. I'll get this sign working at some point.
But it's serious, though, guys. Like I said, guys and gals, we'd love to add another female to kind of hop on with Rocket. But you know what? We're looking for talent on air and writing, and we've got some really cool stuff coming up. Like I said before, we're going to get that podcast extravaganza. This has been something that we've been trying to do for the last couple of seasons, but I think we finally round up all of the cats, so to speak, herding a bunch of cats together. And we're going to sit down and we're going to have a really good chat on the season preview, what we're going to do in free agency, and what's coming up for the draft. So please stay tuned to the website, stay tuned to the YouTubes, use that little bell to get the notifications, and we'll see you next time. If we don't see you before June 16th, we'll see you June 16th. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.